Okay, I think I have to turn off.
Okay, so we are good to go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. We have Moses Moore today as our coach, and he'll be taking us on family balance. We want to know how these ladies are able to balance managing their home fronts and then running their businesses. So we are meant to have about 4 to 5 entrepreneurs today, but we have just one here with us. Others will join us shortly. So Naren, could you just go ahead and introduce the person we have here? Then Moses can begin while others join us.
Okay, hi everyone. Yeah, so today we're going to have about 3 women that I contacted. The other one, she didn't respond. So today we're going to have Priska here, and then there's going to be Monday, and then there's going to be Lutanga. So Priska is into cosmetics and selling wigs, and then Monday sells rice and does baking, and then Lutanga sells rice. So these are our women for today.
Sorry, you say Priska does what?
Pardon?
So you say Priska does what?
Cosmetics and selling of wigs.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So nice to meet you, Priska, and thanks for showing up early.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. So I was talking to Barbara a few minutes ago, and I was mentioning that when we speak about family balance, especially in the context of Africa, the women are more relatable to that topic than us men. So I think that today it would be a discussion and trying to understand how you do it, and from a perspective also of somebody who has gone through a not working class mother, but a trading mother. I would probably also like give us some ideas on how things could get better or how you could help, especially with the thought that, generally in Africa, we have to also put a lot of effort into educating our children, or while educating them, also ensuring that we have conversations that are important, not just the how are you fine type of conversation, knowing their friends and all whatnot, right? Topic, right? Balance. I would immediately just define family balance as creating an equilibrium, so a balance between work or your business and your family, right? So creating a structure where you give as much time to business or to work as you give to family, sometimes even more, because when you have smaller children, you basically have to invest more time into tending or caring for them, right? I know that it can be tough, especially for you who has to wake up early in the morning, go to the market to restock. So your general market, to go and buy what you need to restock and then come back to shop, and then maybe if you still have to within that same money take your child to school. I know it can be tough, but it's also quite important, the element of being available and discussing with them when for those if your children are going to school, but if they go to school, basically discussing with them about school, even though you will not be able to take care of it. Because I know that growing up, my mother was not in any way involved in my assignments because she wasn't educated. My dad was always, the guy who would take care of my maths, my physics or English courses. But one thing was very important for both parents was that while my dad was the guy who was providing or things available, and then doing the assignments, my mom was also asking very personal questions. How are your friends? How was school today? I hope nobody beat you. Did anybody, harass you? Were you bullied by anybody? She would ask me in very personal terms, using the language that we're familiar with, Pidgin English. She would ask me those kind of questions. And what that did for me was that it helped me understand that, yes, I had to create a responsibility pattern but my dad was the one I would go ask for school fees, the one I would go meet for my assignment. But when I needed to talk to somebody about a boy who beat me, or how bad I was doing in school and what I was struggling with, I would hardly talk to my dad because he was always going to beat me about it, basically. So I had somebody I could always talk about these things. My mom was always available to speak to me about, even though she was busy. Like in her case, she had a shop she had to fill up, she had to go to the market, she had to make sure that I was in school, but she always made sure that she asked me those very personal questions. Who did I speak with today? How are my friends? Am I struggling with any topic? Am I okay? Am I fine? Did anybody beat me? How is my body? Made me want to continue talking to her. And even till today, I think I am even much more closer of my both parents. I'm actually much more closer to my mom than I am to my dad, right? And as businesswomen, welcome. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, but it's nice if you can introduce yourself. Narine, can you introduce the new entrant?
Okay. Monday just joined us now. Yeah. So Monday, the family balance business.
All right.
Yes. Okay, you can proceed.
Sorry for that interruption. I have an installer in the house trying to do some work. Yeah, so I was saying, right, in the context of family balance, I think that in Africa, I think it's until recently that we began to have like a lot of educated both parents. Usually you will have the father being educated, marrying a younger wife who probably had only secondary school education, and that was it basically. So most times it was more the mother, like you both here today, being more personal with the children. And I think that like also one of the biggest problems why that was created is that the mothers also try to be as traditional as possible or as formal as possible, and wouldn't try to know if their children had, boyfriends or girlfriends or being bullied or stuff like that. Nobody tried to get personal. And I think that like it did affect many of us as children. There are like things I would never for the life of me talk to my dad about, ever, never, ever. Because he was that kind of guy. He was always formal. What do you want? You want it, you list it, you give it to him, he pays for it, you move on. There's nothing, nothing personal about it. For him, it's just provide and move on, basically. So in the context of family balance, I think that, as traders and as mothers who are also very busy, it will be very, very important that you try to, as much as possible, be close to your children, and in many cases, introduce them to what you do, so that there is like continuity. It also would help you reduce the amount of work you have to do, the amount of load you have to carry. Because when you have like a teen child who can already go shopping for you, you don't have to always go shopping at the same time, come back and cook, come back and wash clothes, come back and tend for the younger kids. You are able to like, give them that responsibility to carry. And sometimes, almost times, like in my case, I was always sitting at my mom's shop because I was close to my mom. She always like give me a shop key to go and open in the morning while she be at home cooking. So if you can create that kind of balance between how you share this responsibility so that you don't break down, like when you work so hard through life, basically, sometimes it then becomes that you are overdoing it or you are underdoing it. And when you are overdoing it, you break down very quickly. It doesn't tell on you immediately, but after like a couple of years, you begin to struggle with one health condition or the other, arthritis, neck pain, back pain, and all whatnot. So shed some weight, like let people carry stuff for you. Let your children be more, more, what do I call it now, more participating basically. Discuss some of these things that you never used to speak to your husbands about, how market was. Sometimes they want to hear it, right? It's not just you are trying to know how work was for him. Let him know how work was for you so that when he's trying to push you into the kitchen, he knows that it was a struggle for you like it was for him as well. And sometimes they want to help. I remember even though my dad was very strict, he would still go into the kitchen and cook sometimes. But that was only when my mom would tell him that, no, I don't fit do anything. I can't do anything today. I just my back, my hand, everything is paining me. He will go and cook. He knows how to cook, right? So it's quite important that as you are trying to keep your mouth closed and not share so much of these struggles that you are going through, it's important that you understand that like it can't be you alone. Like you can't do it alone. The reason why you have a husband or brothers or sisters and siblings or children as well is so that these things don't become overwhelming and you are crying every single time in your bathroom and not talking to anybody about it and you think that is fine. It's actually not fine. After a while, you break down to the extent where you can't deal with it anymore. But then nobody knows what you are. It's now a pile load of a lot of, all of these struggles, and it's hard to fix. There's this adage in my town. They say you don't learn to use your left hand in old age, right? After it has become a lot of struggle, it becomes tough for you to let it go. And sometimes people just, struggle and after a while die in silence. And then you leave the people you are trying to help, you leave them, behind and they begin to struggle again in the same circle that you did earlier on because you didn't show them how it was going to be done or how it was supposed to be done or how you basically needed to get it done. Right? I am just typically saying this because even today, I still have a mother who I would probe even though I would tell her most of the things I'm going through, I would have to probe 3, 4, 5 times more to get what she's going through from her, right? And I think that it's quite important that as African women and as mothers, please know that you are not a machine. You are not a factory fitted appliance or something. You are human as much as everybody else, and everybody you have around you is there to help. Sometimes, don't assume that sharing with them would make it too tough or make people know, all that you are going through. It's important that they actually do know what you are going through so that people will not be asking you for that small 100 kwacha you're trying to use to eat. They are trying to ask you for it. And because you try to dress really well, they feel like she has and she's not giving us. You actually don't have. It's just what it is, basically. You don't have, you are struggling, it's tough. Talk to people. Make sure that there's that relationship between your work, how you are doing it, what you are doing, and what family looks like. Family should be very much involved in how your work looks like, how your day-to-day looks like, so that if something happens, they basically, first off, know where to go and look for you, how to look for you, know how you do everything. So let's say you are ill today, right? I am not praying that anybody falls ill, but it's something that happens at any point in our lives. You are ill today. When you fall ill, your child doesn't even know how much you sell 99% of the things in your shop. Your husband can't help you go to the market. The only thing they can help you with that time is take you to the hospital and bring you back, and everybody sits at the house and looking at each other. Imagine if you were the breadwinner in your house. It means that everybody begins to struggle, just not because you didn't have enough stock in your shop, but just because you are ill and nobody knows how to sell the things that you sell. Nobody understands your business like you do. It becomes more of a struggle talking to them about these problems than it will be when you can't even pay for your drugs anymore, you can't pay your house rent anymore, you can't, go to the shop to go and, deal with this thing. So just generally thinking about it from that perspective, you will understand that, like, I'm looking at both of you, and I know that, like, you both are like strong women in your rights, and it's very, very, very important to shed as much as you can so that you can live long for us. Like, very important that you live long for us, because as children, when you lose a parent, you know how important they were, first off, right? And if there wasn't a case where the children had a thing to talk to you about, or you had a thing to talk to them about, there's not so much to miss. So that interpersonal relationship that you could probably have built with them, and now you are trying to walk your way through it and say, oh, no, I'm too busy to talk to them about these things. You are not too busy. You actually need them as much as they need you. So you have to find a way to make yourself as available. You have to find a way to talk to them about these things. You have to find a way to, every single day of the week, mention one thing that happened at the shop to them. And as much as possible, get them to, when they close from school, let them come to the shop and close. You all close in the evening and go back home. If they have assignments to do there, or they go home and do it when your husband is back, or if your husband is the one who is most dedicated. But generally, just knowing that it's important that they know what you do, how you do it, so that if anything happens, they are there. You have to travel for a family function and you close your shop and you have just taken a loan. You're not making money now, right? So you have to create that balance of help, of support, of help with the immediate family structure. Your children, your husband, your siblings, and anybody who lives with you. Right? Very, very important. And I just thought I'd chip those in just right before trying to understand some of the things that you people would like, that we discuss around how you have been able to, over this last couple of years. I don't know how many years you have both been doing your business today, but over the last couple of years, how have you been able to balance family, children, husband, because husband are like children anyway, so husband and a bunch of other things, and then still do your business and do it for this long that you have done it. So if based on what I have said, if you have any questions, but my own question to you now is, how have you guys been able to do it? Are there areas where you have concerns and you wanted us to talk about it? I'm speaking a lot about sharing, but there are also sometimes that you don't want to even share at all, right? You can ask, what kind of things should you be sharing? Which kind of people should you be sharing things with? But I can't definitely, within your family circle, I can't define which people you should share things with, but as much as the people who spend time with you, they should know what is going on with your business and, with family, basically, because it makes things a lot easier. But generally, if there are like questions you want to ask based on my own experience with my family, my dad was educated, my mom wasn't. My dad was very formal, my mom was very caring, very nice, very, very accepting. I spent 99% of my non-school or non-working days in my mother's shop. And that meant that I knew everything she was saying. In fact, I knew all the people she was buying things from up until the market that she would go to. Right? But that also meant that she rested more. In fact, she would stay at home till 12 in the afternoon. Then she would not come to the shop. I'll be there till 12, and then I'll go home, freshen up, and come back and stay till in the evening and close with her. So it made things a lot easier for her. I know that after I left, I went to find a job. She missed me, but at least that bonding time was there for a very long time. For at least 12 years, I was doing this with her. After secondary school, because I didn't go to university as well, right? So yeah, if you have any question with my experience, and then if there are like areas you want to talk about with your own personal experience right now on how you manage to juggle these things, I would like to learn, basically. I did mention to Barbara, I think that you people should be educating us rather than us educating you people about family balance, right? But generally, yes, I would love to hear what your experiences have been like for the last couple of years. Sorry, Priska, how long have you been doing your business?
It's long, but constantly now it's 4 years.
Oh,
I
yeah.
started way back there now because of childbearing, what I was bumping. But now I'm in it full time. It's 4 years now.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right. How about you? Sorry, I didn't get your name, but yeah, you can also chip that in now.
Monday. Monday.
More than a decade. Sorry?
Monday. Hey, okay, so you want to get your name. What's your experience? Okay, with me, I've been into cake baking, making cakes and scones. It's about 10 years now.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I should be learning from you basically how you have been balancing taking orders and fulfilling orders, and then still trying to take care of family as well. Like, how have you been doing it basically?
Okay, like for cakes, I've also involved my 2 daughters. We normally do together, we balance. Sometimes if I'm busy, they take over the business, they can do the cakes and we can deliver. Yeah, if I'm busy with the family issues, so they are able to do that for me. Yes.
Interesting. How old are these children, your daughters?
My firstborn, she's 26.
Okay.
Then my secondborn, she's 22. Yeah.
Nice. Interesting. So it feels like what I've been saying kind of just relates to how you have also structured your own trading system where you are doing it, but you also are introducing your children. Because one thing we must also understand is that the children have a way they want to do it. With our children these days are social media children, right? So I think they would even create more orders than you. While you are trying to use banners and flyers, they themselves are using social media, Instagram, Facebook, and they are able to take pictures better than you. They are able to post them. They are able to promote them better than you. So if you introduce them early enough, they already even know all the ingredients you use for everything. So while you are doing it, they are doing the marketing and all the jargons that they know how to do, while you are doing the one you know how to do, which is to bake and do a good job of it. And yeah, well done, man. Well done. So how about you? Do you have any, Krista, do you have any grown-up children like her, and how has it been with, managing both?
Now, my firstborn is 17.
Okay.
And then the second one is 15. Though I involve them, I also involve them, especially those which sometimes I give them and then they give us on the month end. That's where I involve them much. At the shop, I still do it along since they go to school. The time for them to come at the shop is not there. So I most involve them when I give for credit and then they give us on the month end. That's where they know our customers. But what I've liked most is the way you are bringing it out. I think it's good we teach our children so that our business goes for generations. That way, on that I've learned a lot, I'll improve.
Awesome. It doesn't have to be, and even for you, madam, who has like 2 daughters, it doesn't have to be just the girls that are introduced to these things. In fact, and let me give you a real life story. My younger brother is a pastry chef. And one of the things that he liked a lot growing up was, cooking or making clothes and all whatnot. And when he finally chose to, my mom used to do a lot of, so those days in the North, she used to do a lot of Vaseline, candles, and then also a little bit of baking. But he was picking it up and nobody knew, right? But as he grew up, he liked it, right? And then during secondary school, from JSS 1, so that's from 1 to Form 6, he was learning how to make clothes, right? By Form 6, he was done. By university, he went into university and then he was making clothes while in school. But when he was done with school, he said that he was not doing clothes anymore, that he wanted to bake. right? And then he began to bake. Today he bakes for Red Bull, Super Sports, like some of the big brands in Nigeria. When they have events, he goes to bake for them. But I'm not sure my mother would have ever been able to meet that kind of level if she basically tried to stick to how she used to do it. The back of her house, she would bake with coal pots, and it was working, right? She was selling, it was working, people were buying. But truth be told, if you were going to bake for the likes of Super Sports or what do they call it, Red Bull, you won't be baking with coal pots, right? You would have upgraded to a particular level. And the only people who can, teach themselves at this point are your children right now who are in school, seeing how their friends are doing it, seeing what is happening on social media, watching more TV than you. They are the ones who can improve and say, oh, mommy, this pot that we are using, I think if you layer it with foil, it will remove smoke. But you have never known that that thing works like that. But what that child has just done is that he has introduced a new taste to your cake, right? Or he has introduced a new taste to your meat pie or whatever you make. And even for you who makes hair and accessories, today people do wig sewing, right? I'm sure if you were going to learn how to sew wig, like buy the normal hair and then buy the net and sew it. If you were going to learn it, you'll probably go and meet somebody at their shop to sit down and do it. But if your child wants to learn it, your child will use 2 weeks on YouTube and will do it better than you. Right? And it's not a gender-based thing. There are men who are like amazing wig makers or amazing, what do they call it now? Cream mixers and all whatnot in Lagos, Nigeria, and they are doing amazingly well. In fact, they have some of the biggest social media shops, and they are doing really well for themselves, living in the highbrow of Lagos, in Lekki and in BI. But I am not sure that if they left it to you, you would probably want to go and start thinking so big that, let me start thinking how I want to be using YouTube to learn the new cake designs or new wig styles or new hair styles, where to import them from. I'm sure you probably have children right now who already know where to import more goods than you, basically. But then introducing them gives them the, mommy is able to talk to me about the struggles of making cake and the things falling down and it's not firm enough, or mommy is able to understand that the last week I did not balance it well. Instead of it being in the middle, it's now in the other side of the head. But like just generally understanding that like they know a lot, you just can't know that they know a lot until you talk to them about it. Like you cannot understand how much those children know until you try to involve them enough that they are able to talk to you about what they see. Because just take for an instance, right? Just bring both of you who have 2 grown-up children. Bring those children to your shop for the next couple of days. Let them not do anything. Yeah? Let them not do anything. You just do all the work, right? This is like a sample type conversation. After that 2 days, sit them down and ask them what they observed. You will start hearing things that you never thought were a problem. Right? It just shows you how important it is to actually like carry them along, like balance that. You don't have to keep the shop at the shop and the house at the house. Like, let everything just mix themselves, because you want continuity, right? You want a situation where when you are 70, your daughter is able to make you a cake, or when you are 80, you hear that your daughter is now exporting wheat from Zambia to one of the East African countries or Central African countries, basically, right? You want to be able to like say, right now you are using your hand to write your company name on paper, that your child is now using, created China imported labels, right? You want that kind of things to happen. You want to, when you are 60, you are resting as opposed to working your hearts off or trying to take care of your grandchildren. No, like you want to rest. And it can only happen with a lot of involvement with these children. Like they know more than you think they know. Do not assume for them. Like try to ask them questions, try to involve them more. Show them what you do, how you do it, where you go to do it. They would help you refine your system, set up better structures, or even help you create better, sales pipeline or sales channels. I think that like if you basically show your child how to manage an Instagram account, while you are struggling to press the screen of your phone with 2 hands, he or she is using 1 hand to do the whole thing and can post an image and interact with customers very easily. So you have to like, find a way to create that balance so that you can let them do some of these things. You can't keep doing it on your own. You actually cannot keep doing it on your own, right? So yeah, it was fun hearing that like both of you are actually like involving your kids already, even though not as much as you should be, but it's good that you already are thinking about how you involve them, how they do some of the things you do, and even if it's a little bit of supervision, but just let them do some of these things and make mistakes by themselves. And it's fine. It's fine to make mistakes. In fact, one of the things I learned growing up is that the things my mom used to do, I learned them faster than the things my dad used to do. My dad plays the guitar. He used to belong to a music band. I do not like to play the guitar. In fact, I did not learn to play the guitar because of him. So if he wants to teach me, he would beat me. He would beat the hell out of me. But for my mom, while she was baking and making candles and vaseline and creams and all whatnot, I learned every single thing. In fact, I know every single thing the way she used to do it. But it wasn't like that with the things that my dad knew how to do, because he didn't sink it well. Like anytime I made mistake, my mistake was not acceptable, right? I always had to be like top of the everything basically. But just understanding how moms can be and how mothers can be, you guys are the best bridge for your children. You are the best team your child or your husband can have. So just create that team. Like it's quite important that you understand that like life is hard. Like Africa is tough. The terrain is tough. And you have to create a very strong team that would always have your back every single time, that will always be available, that can do the things that you do. And you don't have to think, oh, I'm in the market, there's an order I have to fulfill. Let me rush back and go and do it. There's your child who has already started making that hair, who has started already mixing the fondants for your design, basically. Just understanding that like you need them as much as they need you as much as you need them as well. Right? Yeah. So are there, right now, talking through all of these things, are there any of these sides or these areas that you think you kind of struggle with that you want to point out, and let's see if we can discuss them as well? Whether it is sharing or discussing some of these things, or even creating systems of feedback systems between you, your husband, you, your children, your husband, and stuff like that, so that we can just discuss about them from a place of experience. Sorry, Barbara and Viance, we might probably involve both of you in this conversation, and even Nareen. But yes, just from a place of experience, are there any areas in this arrangement that you kind of have a struggle with involving your children? The areas that you think that they struggle with, but you don't know how to manage with them, basically. And let's talk about it.
Like my side,
yeah,
like involving husband, it's kind of difficult. With my children, it's not. The way I've started, I think I'll introduce them to the shop. Now with my husband, he's so negative. So much that if you want to do that, so like that, it doesn't help. When SCP, he also wants, now he's someone who's so negative. This thing you're doing, this thing you're doing. Moreover, he's a driver, so I don't know here and there how you can help.
So you say he's a driver, right?
Yes.
So how about he begins by going to go and buy you stuff that you need for your shop?
Like buying stuff?
Yeah. So like you call the person who you need to get the thing from, and then you say, please help me put this together, and you tell him to drive there and go and pick it up.
That's a good one.
He doesn't do, like, he's not going to do any of the pickup. He's not doing anything like arranging the stuff. But I think that one of the things that men struggle with is trying to spend 3 hours in the market as opposed to 20 minutes, right? You women, I don't know how you guys do it, but yeah, you guys are champions with spending so much time in the market. But how about you? You already know your vendors, right? You know who sells hair for you, who sells nets, who sells the cream, who sells the bottle cap, who sells the bottles. You already call them and say, oh, I need a dozen of this, I need a carton of this, I need a sachet of this and whatnot. And then they all put it together. And then you now say, okay, please help me drop it with so person. And everybody drops their stuff with one person. And then you just tell your husband that, oh, go to a so market and help me pick it up. He has done a job that you probably will spend 3 hours during the whole day. So he doesn't have to be the one who is mixing cream for you or trying to sew the wig. He has something that he can put into work for you, basically. And I don't think that, so men are actually very, very selfish when it comes to things like this. But generally, just making it easy for him and easing him through into it would help you build the kind of system you want to have. So that sometimes when you tell him that, oh, I have left some items with Mama Isaac or something, or Mother Isaac or something, one of the people you sell things for, he already knows them. He just goes there and he just calls the person and he picks it up. He doesn't have to be scouting the entire market. He knows who he's going to meet and he just goes there and he picks it up. In fact, he's doing a very, very valuable, kind of job for you. Transport is hard. Navigating a city or a town is hard. In fact, he's doing something that is very valuable to you. You just have to use it. Like, find a way to make it easy for him so that he's not doing shopping, he's not doing picking up, he's not doing calling and any of that nature. He's just only doing pickup. Let him start from there, right? Once you have been able to make it as easy as possible for him, it then, creates that scenario of, okay, he's not going to drive to the market and wait for you for 3 hours or 4 hours. He's just going there, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, he's out of the market. Men are very time sensitive, basically. Men do not, we always act very busy. Men are very, finicky when it comes to how they spend their time. But when you have made it, as easy as possible for him, he becomes more involved. In fact, sometimes he would ask you, do you have any, when he knows that he has a job that will take him through the part where you usually do any shopping, he will call you and ask you, do you have anything you want to pick up at social market?
Yeah.
You understand what I mean, right? So nobody is like, I don't think that there's anybody within your entire family who is not usable. Like, please use him. Like, he's useful, please use him. Please. Right?
I get it.
Awesome. Yeah, so how about you, madam?
Yes, as for me, he does support me because if we have some orders, so he helps us. Like 2 of my children that is the university. So if I've got a lot to do, so that he's able to drive to go and pick them. He can also buy things for me on his way. Even in the night, if we are baking throughout the night, he's there to help us. He gets the cakes, takes them in the fridge. At least he's supportive. Yeah, he really helps us, yes. Because even if my children are at school, they have some orders, I also help them as well at home. Then in the morning, he takes the cakes to them. Yes, so we always work together, though he doesn't know anything, but he's there to support. Yes, sometimes we tell him, can you bring us eggs? Yes. Yeah, then if we are in the kitchen, we give him the cakes. Please, can you take them in the fridge? So he's there to help us, yes. Yeah, he does help us.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I kind of like the fact that there is contrast between both of you. One person is wanting more, one person is already pushing for more. So there is already a lot to learn from between both of you, calling each other and talking to yourselves about these things. Oh, this is where I'm struggling. How did you manage it with your children? How did you manage it with your husband to be more involved? The community is a very, very strong hold of how we have grown as people. And we have to continue to use it. You know those days, right? When there was no phones and no way to communicate with people. How our parents used to do it was have very close community structures where people in in a particular city. So like, let's say in Lagos, right? They would have people from my village who are residents in Lagos, and they would hold a meeting every week. That meeting is not to discuss, they don't discuss how your work was or stuff like that. They discuss generally how family is, what is the next family event, how do we take care of so if you have a burial or you have one thing or the other. There was like very strong family system until the advent of phones, and everybody just want to stay their own lane. But you know how communities like this one we have built, even the madam at the back, or Narine, or Priska, or yourself, you are always available for yourselves, no matter how far you guys live. Because you have stayed here for at least 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you kind of find your way back to yourselves. And if there are like things that you struggle with, because you have spoken about them, even in this conversation, you people know more personal things about yourself in the last 10 minutes than you ever did. Right? So you are able to talk about these things. You are able to relate to them because they probably are happening to more than just one of you in this room. Right? So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Thanks a lot. And then madam at the back, I know you came in late, but yeah, it would be nice to hear your experience of how you have balanced, work, business, and life, and the children, and the big baby, which is your husband as well.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
My name is Felista Sakoma. Yes, me, I'm not married.
Okay.
So I don't have a family.
Okay.
Yes, so the people who support me are my relatives. My brothers, I don't have any sister. I have only brother. So those are the people who are supporting me. They stand with me.
Okay. So yours is a totally different story, but fair enough that you actually have some kind of support system. So I would not agree with you when you say you don't have family. Your brothers and your sisters are your family, but in a different kind. Like you basically have the first family, which is like where you directly come from, and then you have the one that you go create with a different person. So with your husband or with your wife, in the case of myself, right? But yeah, just generally what we have been talking about today is just sharing the load that we carry on our own. How much of the things we discuss with people, how much help we seek from people, trying to even understand the people around us and what motivates them, right? What gets them going, how we ourselves push ourselves to share with people more so that we are able to rest a bit, right? It doesn't have to always be stressful. It can be fun, busy, but you're also enjoying it, right? So yeah, that's generally what we have been talking about today. It's just a recap basically, right? But for you, basically, I totally see it from a different perspective. It's not like you are creating continuity, maybe except if you have plans to, get married, but like you currently have a support system that you should also cherish and use. Share more about what you do and how you do it, so that, because it can also be a case where your siblings want to do the same business with you, but they don't know so much about the business yet. They don't know if it's something that they are able to continue to or do with you. So it can grow bigger than just you, right? So you have to also within your own arrangements, share more with your siblings or those people who are around you, who currently help you to know more about what you do and how you do it, so that they can support or so that they can build a big business with yourself. Because you're going to collect a loan, or you're going to take a loan, but you also have to understand that whatever you are collecting this loan or you are taking the loan for has to be big enough to pay back the loan. And if it isn't, it's going to be a struggle, not just for you, but also for your children, or for you who are just has siblings, for your siblings and for your parents or whoever is around you. It'll be a struggle for them as well. It might also be tough. So basically just understanding that it's important to have that system and explore that system and use that system to the best of their ability. Yeah, human beings are very political, just so you all know, very political. So it's important that we all know that everybody has what motivates them. And the family system is very dynamic. So we have to understand that, like, the thing that motivates Moses doesn't motivate James, doesn't motivate Joanna, and they are all different people. So we have to, like, understand each person individually so that we can deal with them in that same way. Yeah? We're good, right? So are there any questions that anybody has? This time around, I would like Barbara to take the answer to that question. So is there anybody who has a question for Barbara?
Any questions?
Or if you have a question for Nareen is also there. So if you have a question for Nareen, just one question each. One question for Nareen, one question for Barbara. And I don't know if Viansh is open to questions, but if you have a question for her as well, fair enough, they are all women. So let's have women answer some of your questions as well, if you have
Okay, I think I would just like to share something with them.
Okay.
Hopefully my network doesn't crash on me. So I'm a mom too, you know. So this topic, family balance, is something I relate a lot with. And I get to relate with lots of women. So take it from me, who is nursing a baby who is less than 1 year, and then I have an almost 3-year-old. It's never easy, you know. What I want to share with you is, don't try to do everything on your own, because you will break down. It's either your business will suffer for it, or your health will suffer for it, or your marriage will suffer for it. Even if you are not married, either your business or your health will suffer for it. So as much as possible, try to allocate duties to other people. Let this one help you sweep the shop if that person is available. Don't say, I'm going to go to the shop as early as 8 a.m., make deliveries before I come back home, even maybe stock up the shop. You come back home, you don't want nobody to cook for you. You go ahead and start cooking. When you're done, you're washing clothes, doing that, sweeping the house. You will break down. Family balance is teaching you how to balance your business, your family, your spiritual life. Everything about you there needs to be an equilibrium, just like Moses stated. And so what I'm telling you today is, don't try to be the perfect mother. Don't try to put on an image that is not you. You will see that you need help that they will help you. It's only when you ask. Okay, so as more help. Hello, Mary. Yeah, did you guys get what I said?
Yeah, I'm sure.
We did, although it was breaking at the end, but we did most of it.
Okay, so I think that was just basically all. I was just doing a summary at the end. So, Bianca, do you want to say anything?
Not really that much. It was pretty easy to follow. I thought it was a really engaging topic.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. So, do you have any questions?
Barbara, your line is breaking again.
Yeah, is it better now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so I was asking if they have any questions. If there are no further questions, we can just go ahead and take the group photos.
Yeah, I think we're fine. Do you have any questions, please?
It's clear.
As they don't have, we've enjoyed the session. But it was great. It was a nice topic actually. Very helpful, which is mostly needed. At least our health comes first, and then we take care of our family, and then business will just go in there. Yeah, minus family, I think the business who are we meaningless. Who are we working for? It's not family. So that's the thing. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks so much for the time.
Okay, let's just turn on our camera so that we can take the photo.
Are we all seeing?
Yes.
Somebody behind you showing.
All right, I'm done. Thank you. Thank you, Moses. Thank you. That was very interactive. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And congratulations to your brother for following his dreams.
Yes.
It's not something, it's not something that's very common over here in Nigeria, you know. So thanks and congratulations. Thank you, ladies, for joining. We appreciate you. Thank you, Bian. Everyone, do have a lovely day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.